What's up, everybody? Welcome back to racingdudes.com. Welcome back to another one of our previews. For this one, we're going to go to the main event of the weekend, and we're going to go to Monmouth Park for the Haskell Stakes coming up here Saturday, July 18th. Race 12 on the card, grade 1 event here for the 3-year-olds going a mile and an eighth, of course, on the dirt. Field of 7, I'll put it up on the screen for you now. This is a really fun race. I don't think it's easy to pick between a few of these. I do think it's kind of, famous last words. I do think it's easy that, hey, one of the shorter prices are going to win this race. It's just picking which one is going to do it. Let's go through them one by one. Go to number 1, Star Sweeper, to kick us off. This is not one that I think has much of a chance, and 30-1 on the morning line kind of tells you that. A horse that has 2 wins at 9 starts, did break the maiden at Parks on debut way back in September of last year, and also won an allowance at Parks on Christmas Eve. This year, not so good. 5th in a stakes at Aqueduct, 2nd in a stakes at Parks, 5th in a stakes at Keeneland. It doesn't get any better. 2nd last 2 races back in a stakes here at Monmouth. And then last time out, 5th in the local prep for this one. I don't have much of, much hope for this horse. I also don't think the horse is going to play too much of a factor. Maybe the pace, maybe they send, but overall, I just don't think this one's going to do much in the spot. Let's go to the number 2 Further Ado next. And I do think this is a horse that obviously has the favorite. He is going to have a big say in things here. 2 races to kick off his career up at Saratoga, going 6 furlongs and 7 furlongs, and neither one of them went all that well. Got 5th and 3rd, didn't run very well in either one of them. Stretched out to a maiden on October 10th of last year at Keeneland, going a mile 16th, won by 20. So a 20-length victory there, and that put him on the map. Next race was the Kentucky Jockey Club at Churchill Downs. He was a winner. He won by a length and 3/4. He looked pretty good doing it. And so that was a really good ending to the 2-year-old season. Fast forward now to the 3-year-old season. Off of a layoff in the Tampa Bay Derby, Brad Cox said he might be a couple works short. He kind of looked like he got second, beaten 3/4 of the length to the Puma. We'll talk about the Puma in a second. He's back. But he did parlay that to an 11th-length victory in the Bluegrass, where he just absolutely crushed the competition. Didn't run well at all in the Kentucky Derby to finish 11th, but did come back. It came back in the Matt win and won by 2 lengths. The Matt win, definitely a prep for this spot. This was kind of the target after the Kentucky Derby to kind of go to a race like this. Makes all the sense in the world. Look, I think a lot of people like to say, oh, he's a Keeneland monster because he has ran 2 huge races at Keeneland. And hey, if this race was at Keeneland, maybe he'd be an easier pick. He has won twice at Churchill Downs as well. They're different tracks. I don't really think he can only run like in Kentucky. I do think he can run well other places. I get that, he's lost 3 times when not running in the state of Kentucky. All 3 of his starts were losses. The race I liked the most from him out of the first 5 was that Tampa Bay Derby. Because to me, it's like, yeah, if he truly was a couple works short, he ran really well, and that was a really good field that day. And look, he did get beat by the Puma, but again, I thought he ran very well. And since that race, these last race and the race 3 back were really good. Derby, he was awful, but a lot of horses were. I think of his stablemate Commandment. I didn't think he was very good in the Derby at all. He came back and ran 2nd in the Belmont. The Derby might just be one of those races where some horses ran poorly, and they're going to come back and run fine. So I think Further Ado. To be honest, I'm not worried at all that it's at Monmouth Park. I will say this. Obviously, if it's at Keeneland or Churchill, you'd feel a lot better. I'm not going to lie and say that's not the case, because that is true. But I don't really think there's a whole lot to, he has to run, at a racetrack in Kentucky to run well. I think he's going to run well in this spot. Is he good enough? Yeah, that's very debatable, but I do think he'll show up and run well. The number 3 is Baby Vino. Baby Vino won the local prep race for this one really impressively by 10 3/4 of a length. And really, Schoolyard Superman, not a great horse, right? National Charter, not much. He didn't beat much, so I'm trying to get at, but if you're not going to beat much, you might as well beat them by almost 11 lengths. So that was pretty impressive. 2 races back, broke the maiden at Oakland Park. Pretty good maiden special weight there. I believe that was Kentucky Oaks Day when he broke his maiden. And there were some decent horses in there, including Maximum Effort, who is still a maiden, but has been taking on tougher in stakes company. And before that, it kind of been beaten by some decent enough horses in maiden special weights there at Oakland. So I think, look, he's kind of earned the shot here. He's getting better with each race. I think he's in here with a little bit of a shot. If you want to play one of the double-digit prices, he certainly is the one to play. The number 4, and I think everybody's excited for the Puma to get back into action. The Puma was a very popular horse on the Kentucky Derby Trail. To kind of refresh the memory, debuted on January 10th at Gulfstream Park in a 7-furlong maiden special weight. Lost that race, but got beat by Chief Wallaby. Oddly enough, Chief Wallaby hasn't won since, which is kind of just crazy to think about. But the Puma has. So the Puma ran second that day, ran very well. Went next to the Sam F. Davis. He got third, beaten 6 lengths there by Renegade on just an inside trip and never got running. Just not a good race whatsoever. Came back and won the Tampa Bay Derby by 3/4 of the length, beating the Puma and beating Further Ado and running extremely, I thought, well in that race. And then ran even better in the Florida Derby. Second, only beaten a nose to Commandment. We documented Commandment. He did not run well in the Kentucky Derby. He did run well in the Belmont to run second. So, look, and beat Chief Wallaby that time around, I should say, there in the Florida Derby as well. So, I thought he had a real good shot leading up to the Kentucky Derby. He obviously had to scratch, and he's had his issues. He's back. I think he looks decent in here for sure. I worry, we haven't seen him since March 28th, and I just worry, this is a pretty tough race. There's some pretty good horses here that are in form. He's not. Does he need a race? I just worry about that. So he also is without his regular rider, Javier Castellano. Now they get Luis Saez to ride. I think when it comes to, jockey skills, they're pretty much they're pretty close. They're both pretty good, capable riders. Saez definitely a capable rider. The one thing I will say with a horse like the Puma, who might be a little quirky, it's probably would have been nice to have the main rider, the horse that's been on him before. I think Saez is capable, but he doesn't know him, and so that could be a little bit of a negative as well. So you got to wonder, man, if this is maybe too much, right off the kind of the bench and off of a little bit of an illness. But I still think he's got a lot of talent. I'm very excited to see him run. I think he's going to show up here and run very well. The number 5 is Iron Honor. This horse I really liked the first 2 starts of his career. I picked him, and I was very confident in the Wood Memorial, and he did not run well at all. But oddly enough, that Wood Memorial ended up being a really good race, as the 5th place finisher of the Wood Memorial came back to win the Preakness. And the 7th place finisher of the Wood Memorial, which was Iron Honor, came back to run second in the Preakness. Now, let's talk about this Preakness, because I think it's interesting, and we're going to, all the 5, 6, and 7 all ran in it, right? The Preakness actually has come back to be a halfway decent race, at least so far in a very limited sample size. The Ohio Derby featured Chip Honcho and Ocelli running 1-2. They ran 3rd and 4th in the Preakness. So that is something. Now, you could go back to the Ohio Derby and say, well, what was really behind them? Not a lot, but they kind of separated themselves from that field as well. So maybe it's a little bit better than what we originally gave it credit for. I think Iron Honor really showed that whatever happened in the Wood is just whatever. He sat a little bit off the pace. I think that's good. I think he's going to be about 2nd or 3rd here, a little bit off the pace again. So, he didn't get burnt up on the speed. So, yeah, I like Iron Honor in this spot. I think, he showed in the Preakness he could bounce back. I think he's here with a little bit of a shot in this one. The number 6 was the winner of the Preakness, Napoleon Solo. Now, Napoleon Solo as a 2-year-old was sensational, and the 3-year-old form has been not sensational. 2 great wins, including the Champagne up at Belmont at the Big A. Came back in the Fountain of Youth, stumbled, didn't run very well whatsoever. Wasn't all his fault coming off the layoff. I thought he might be a work or 2 short, and he doesn't get the position. I pretty much threw that race out. I didn't worry about that one, but I didn't love the Wood Memorial at all, where he was 5th, beaten 2 3/4, and just kind of, set the pace and couldn't kick on. He went way too fast that day, but to me, it just kind of felt like, yeah, I think they'll cut him back. And I still have hope for him, but I don't think he's a 2-turn horse. Wrong, like I was for the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont, all three, dead wrong on all of them. He just stretched out and, pretty much went gate to wire. I know Taj Mahal was ahead of him, but I was just kind of he was doing his own thing, and Napoleon Solo was kind of sitting off of him a little bit and running his own race. And to me, just that felt like a gate to wire win for Napoleon Solo, and I feel like he could do that here. I don't see a whole lot of other speed in the race. I think there's some trackers that won't let him get too far behind, looking at Iron Honor and Further Ado, but Napoleon Solo seems loose in this spot, and I think he's going to be hard to catch. So I think he will show up here and should run pretty well in this spot. Finally, everybody's favorite maiden, who's now 0 for 9. It's the number 7, Ocelli. And Ocelli, another one that came out of that Wood Memorial and actually finished ahead of Napoleon Solo and Iron Honor. He ran third in the Wood Memorial, then famously took the lead for a bit in the Kentucky Derby, a maiden in the Derby at 70-1. Can he pull it off? No, he ran third, beaten a length, came back fourth in the Preakness, and then last time out, second in the Ohio Derby. And honestly, I thought the Ohio Derby was the best race of his career. And yes, I know he ran third, only beating a length in the Preakness, in the Derby, Kentucky Derby, but I don't know. Just kind of felt like a little bit of a weird race. Ohio Derby, I thought he was winning that thing until Chip Honcho got past him and got second, like I said, in that one, beating a length. I think he's very likely to hit the board here. He's a horse that I'm not going to use in multi-races, but I am going to use in exactas and tries. And so when I give out my top 4, it's usually like, here's the top 4 most likely winners when I'm talking about this video specifically. So he's not going to be in the top 4 that I list on this video because I'm giving you, here are the top 4 most likely winners. I don't really view him as a likely winner. I view him as very likely to hit the board. So I kind of wanted to explain that because there's a few horses. He's a prime example. There's other horses we talk about throughout the year where I might bring this up as well. But he's one, like, if you go, okay, who are you using in a pick 5 and rank them 1 through 7? I've got him ranked 5th because it's like, I just don't have confidence he's going to win. He's 0 for 9. But then you rank, okay, who's going to hit the board? The best chance, I'd have him like 2nd, right? So he is kind of one of those that kind of fits in that category of underneath in exactas and tries, not for pick 4s or pick 5s. So I just talked him right to the winner's circle, talking about the number 7, Ocelli. He's a fun horse. I have a lot of people text me like, what in the world? Just put him in a maiden. I was like, that'd be the dumbest thing ever to put this horse in a maiden when he's hitting the board in huge stakes races. Like, I wouldn't run him in a maiden if I owned him either. I think he's just fine doing exactly what he's doing. He's only made $830,000 in his career now, so that's not bad. $830,000. I think we'd all take that. So keep running him in these races. And now, if he starts running 7th and he looks terrible, then maybe drop him. But if he can keep hitting the board, throw him in here. You're only 3-year-old once. You only get to run for these big purses once. Go for it. I like it. So anyway, a lot of respect. Really like this horse. We'll use him underneath. All right. That's the field of 7. I think I went on enough about Ocelli there. Look, I like I said, I really kind of debated for a bit. I'm going to go number 2, Further Ado, on top. I do think the number 6, Napoleon Solo, is going to have a little bit of a pace advantage here. I've got Napoleon Solo in 2nd. I'm going to use him in everything. But I think Further Ado can sit close enough, can track him. I think he'll go get him in the late stages of the race. So I've got number 2, Further Ado, on top in this spot. I do like him, to kind of stalk and pounce. Number 6, Napoleon Solo in 2nd for being, no argument. If you're going to put him first, I totally get it. I just think Further Ado might be a touch better. So 2, 6. I will put the number 4, the Puma, in 3rd. I debated back and forth on him, but I just kind of feel like, if this was the 2nd race off the layoff, I think I'd be ready to play him. I just don't know here. And then number 5, Iron Honor, in 4th. So I went 2, 6, 4, 5. Now I'll tell you, sometimes I do these videos and it's pretty distinct. Like, yeah, the 2 was definitely going to be my top pick and the 6 was definitely 2nd. You can blend these together. I think the 2, Further Ado, maybe a little bit higher. I think higher of him than these other 3. But then when you get to the other 3, you could put them in a blender. They're all kind of the same to me. And I think, the order doesn't mean a whole lot once you get past that first horse. So 2, 6, 4, 5 officially for me in this year's running of the Haskell. All right, guys, that'll do it for this preview. Hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, good luck if you're playing Monmouth Park on Saturday.